today I'm going to be talking about classic or favourite albums which I still only have on CD. Now before I start, I'm not being judgmental about CDs. I still listen to CDs. Still got my Arkham CD player there. It's been in for repair recently, so I've been enjoying it again. So I've got nothing against CDs at all. A few years ago on my channel, I did a video where I talked about how I really wanted to stop buying things on record that I already had on CD. In fact, I laid it down as one of my ground rules going forward for collecting. I've totally thrown that out the window. I still spend quite a large chunk of my time looking for things on record that I already have on CD. Not in every case, but, you know, there are certain records, there are certain albums which, now that I am, 8 years again back into collecting seriously, I just really would like to have on vinyl. There are some that I'm not so bothered about, but I don't need to talk too much about the mentality of it. I mean, you sort of understand it, I'm sure, if you're watching this video. Anyway, the album that has inspired me to do the video is this one. This is Another Green World by Brian Eno, which I've never really talked about too much on my channel. I think one day I must do a revisiting instalment on it, but I've been playing this every night before going to bed this week and just really enjoying it. This album was first brought into the house by my dad. A colleague of his at work lent him it. The reason that we knew that the title track from this record was used as the theme tune to a TV show in the UK in the 80s called Arena, and it was really memorable, just a beautiful instrumental track. So my dad borrowed this album from a mate of his and we listened to it, and I've just never really found a copy of it. It's quite a hard record to come by. You can pick them up online. It was reissued a few years ago. I didn't bother getting it, but I just never see it. And as we go through the pile here, I've got about 10 more to show you. I'll just quickly explain why it is that I think I don't have a vinyl copy. With some of them, I will have seen a vinyl copy, maybe even held one in my hands and just not bought it for whatever reason, and there are some that I have never seen. This one falls under the category of one that I have definitely seen. This is the Velvet Underground, the third album, which is my favourite. I don't have any of their records on vinyl. I saw this one down at Heartbreak Records about a month ago. It was in a box of new arrivals that they had down there on the stand, but it was a reissue. And I've made this mistake twice in my life. The next one's going to be the same, actually. A record that I wanted for years and years, and you finally see one and it's got a barcode on the back and it's a reissue, and you just think, I'd rather hold out for an original copy. And then you get home and you think, I'm never going to see an original copy. I've never seen one before. Why am I going to see one again? I should have just grabbed the reissue. But there's parts of me that just thinks, what's the point? If you've got a nice CD of it, what's the point of having it on record when it's probably just going to be a digital copy pressed onto vinyl anyway? So, yeah. Part of me thinks I should have bought it and part of me thinks not. And this is the other one, actually, from Hindsight again, but from a good few years ago now. This is Maggot Brain by Funkadelic, which is a fantastic album. They had a reissue of it, and this is going back at least 3 or 4 years, and I held it in my hands, I looked at it, and I just thought, God, I've never... No, actually, I have seen a vinyl copy of this record. My friend Phil has it in his collection, but I've never seen one out there in the wild. That one was the only one that I've ever seen. It was a reissue. I left it behind. Now I do regret it. I think, that would have been a purchase that made my day, but for some reason, I walked away. This one, an album which meant a lot to me back in the 90s, Beck Mutations, which... there was a Beck reissue programme, wasn't there, a few years ago, and I just totally failed to pick any of them up. Maybe because I don't really listen to him that much anymore. He's an artist that defined my younger days, really, my youth, back in the 1990s. I've got certain associations with his music, but I would like to get a copy of that. If I saw a reissue of that going for, £20, I probably would grab it. I've not been looking, but, This was a real heartbreak because I actually bought... a vinyl copy of it from either Discogs or eBay. This is Ragged Glory by Neil Young, the second Neil Young album I ever got. The first was Harvest. I picked this one up in about 99, 91, 92, something like that, and a really hard record to come by. I've seen one copy of it going in Oxfam here in Lancaster. It was priced at about £60, just completely outside my price range for buying records. But I did buy one on either Discogs or eBay a few years ago, and it had to go back. It was unplayable. I don't know what was wrong with it, just a bad pressing or something. Might even have been a bootleg of some kind, but it sounded dreadful. So still waiting for that to be reissued again. Don't have any particular hope I will ever come across a vinyl copy of it. I pulled this one out, a jazz one. There are 2 Miles Davis records that I'd love to own on vinyl, because my Miles Davis collection is not bad. I mean, you've got to speak relatively, haven't you? I mean, he had so many records, but I have had some successes over the years, mainly from Oxfam in Lancaster. I bought quite a few nice Miles Davis records. This one, ESP, and the next one, Miles Smiles, or perhaps that's the other way around, I'm not sure, are the 2 outstanding ones that I'd really, really like to get. I think it's on this album, the track Agitation. I think it's on this one. One of my favourite tracks by Miles Davis, and the second great quintet, of course. But yeah, still looking for that. Can, Tega Mago, and Egg by Miasi. Actually, don't have either of those on vinyl. I've got Soon Over Babyluna, I've got Monster Movies, both actually really, really nice reissues. I don't know why I've not looked into this. They're magnum opus, really, double album. I just haven't got round to it. No more reason than that, really, but one day I'm going to have to try and get hold of a vinyl copy of that, because not an album that I listen to every day. It's one of those records that you have to make a date with, really. It's pretty full on, but it would be nice to have it on record. I've got quite a few Bob Marley records in my collection. I think all of them bought second hand. I've got a vinyl copy of Burning, which actually was a reissue, but I bought it second hand from Oxfam, and all the others are second hand. Catch a Fire, I'm always slightly ashamed to say, is my favourite Bob Marley album. Ashamed to say because it's the one that was most adulterated, I suppose, by Chris Blackwell and Island Records. It has that kind of slight rock vibe to it. The guitarist, what's his name? The guy that played on Black and Blue by the Stones. His name escapes me. Wayne Perkins plays guitar. I've just never seen this record. I'd love to actually, clap eyes on one in the wild with that original Zippo cover, but I would take a reissue with that cover. Yeah, have yet to see one. This one, just take it out of the cellophane. My John Martyn vinyl collection has been progressing incredibly slowly over the years, and I do have a few now of his classic albums. I've also got a couple of the later ones. This, I suppose, is his magnum opus, really, Solid Air. This is the 50th anniversary issue from Island Records, but I would love to get a hold of a copy of that. And there's a couple of other ones I'd love to get. I'd love to get a vinyl copy of Cool Tide, which is the album that was the first album by him that I ever heard back in the autumn of 1991. Really good album. But yeah, that one would be nice. A fair few others would be nice as well. I could have shown either of 2 records by this bunch. This is the Blue Nile. I could have shown Hats. This one is A Walk Across the Rooftops. Both of those records are much of a muchness, really. They're kind of part 1 and part 2 of the same album, aren't they? But this is the first one I ever heard, and it has my favourite track by them, Tinseltown in the Rain, which is an absolutely wonderful, evocative song. But yeah, I've never seen a copy. I know my friend Sean Whelan has it, or maybe it's Hats that you've got, Sean. I've seen a couple of people over the years showing this record, but I have yet to stumble into its path. 2 more, and we're going to end with 2 sort of, blockbusters, really. Kate Bush, Hands of Love. I've not had bad luck with Kate over the years. I've picked up most of her run of original great albums now, starting from The Kick Inside and moving through to The Sensual World is the last one I've got. Don't have the red shoes, not too fussed about that. Never seen, I don't think, I probably have seen it actually going back through the years. I probably have seen copies of this, but maybe just a little bit overpriced. So yeah, still looking for Kate's classic album, Hands of Love. Did I say Hands of Love at the start, or did I say The Sensual World? I might have got it wrong. But yes, it is The Hands of Love. Don't have that. And this last one, a record which is just quite expensive, and I don't know, I'm just too much of a skinflint to shell out for it. I could easily go online and just, you know, pick up the reissue at last, 30 quid, 40 quid, but part of me just keeps thinking one day I'll find an original copy of Physical Graffiti. My Led Zeppelin collection it's okay. I used to have the first album on vinyl, and that went missing from my collection years ago, so I don't have that. I've got 2, 3, 4 Houses of the Holy, and then I've got Presents, all on vinyl, and then I've got Into the Outdoor on vinyl as well, actually. So Physical Graffiti has been eluding me. Have I ever held it in my hands? I've certainly seen it. I've seen it on the market stand down in Lancaster, not Heightside, but there's another guy that goes down there on a Saturday. I've seen it on his display, but again, you know, it's just more than I want to pay, given that I've got it on CD. I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? When you've got an album on CD and the vinyl copy is really expensive, it's kind of a no-brainer, really, unless you're somebody with, you know, a huge amount of money and, you know, a vinyl purist streak, which I don't really think I have. So anyway, just a small collection. I originally was going to show 20, but I thought I'd try and hack it down to, well, that was 10, plus the original one that I showed as being the one that inspired the video, the Eno. But I'd be interested to know if anybody else can jump on this as a kind of thread. I'm sure there's going to be other people out there in a similar position, albums that you'd love to own on record, but just for whatever reason you've just never managed to bag them. But the journey continues. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.